Hello everybody, welcome to my channel if you're new here, which you probably are. I wanted to make a video that is on a topic that isn't typically discussed, or at least the two things aren't put together very often. It is being plural and navigating HRT as a trans individual, no matter which way you're trans. If you're non-binary, if you're trans feminine, if you're trans masculine, it can apply to anybody. Us personally, we are trans masculine and taking testosterone. This is not medical advice, by the way. Don't take any of this as medical advice. This is more so an emotional side of things kind of video, and things I wish I knew, etc., stuff like that. So don't take this the wrong way. I'm not a medical professional, but I just wanted to make a video about navigating this stuff because I feel like a lot of people don't really think about it, or it's just generally not something that is seen on this platform. One of the most important things for us personally was to consider everybody's comfort as a system rather than just picking apart certain things that each one of us would find uncomfortable, because that creates more negative thoughts and a negative mindset. If you really think collectively about things and you try to make an effort from everybody to be like, oh, this thing would help us all rather than this thing is making XYZ uncomfortable, it really helps, because seeing the glass half full is better than seeing it half empty for any situation, really. But if you're plural and you are navigating really anything like that, that's like a hard decision. It's really important, in my opinion and in my experience, to make sure that you're considering the overall picture. Because it's a big step to start testosterone or estrogen, whichever way you're transitioning, and it's honestly really, really vital to prioritize comfort of everybody, but in a way that doesn't individualize every single thing. And everyone in your system's comfort is important, but most importantly, what is going to help you the most, in my personal experience, is not counting every little detail of everybody's discomfort in the system, but trying to navigate them in a picture that's bigger. You know what I mean? Because I'm one of our feminine alters, and I had doubts myself, like, what if I don't like our voice being deeper, or things like that. And I really tried to make things all about me, but I'm gonna keep my name anonymous. But I was trying to just focus on the picture of what would be happening with me, and I didn't really think about, like, oh yeah, this certain change is gonna benefit the whole system, or these certain attributions of testosterone are gonna make all of us feel better collectively. Because honestly, we have like hyper feminine alters in our system, and it really makes us feel like, at least those alters feel like they're going crazy when it's before the process. When you actually get into HRT, for us personally, it kind of made us have like a big moment, like a realization, like, this isn't as bad as I thought it would be in terms of how we feel individually. Also, imposter syndrome with this kind of thing is real. I know that sounds crazy to some people, but if you're starting HRT and you're a part of a system in any way, shape, or form, plural, it's just like you're constantly, not that you will, but you might be constantly thinking to yourself, like, oh, I have XYZ feminine or masculine trait, depending on which way you're going, or this kind of alter that's this gender, so that must mean that I'm faking being trans, or something like that. Like, those feelings are real. Like, us personally, we got that even before starting HRT, where, like, our host is, like, most comfortable with masculine terms and being masculine, but we have alters who are the opposite, and it made us feel like we weren't getting anywhere with, like, how we presented and how we felt about our identity, and that it was fake, or that it was, imposter syndrome. Like, and I feel like it's prone to happen to us, but for other systems, I feel like it could be different. But my only tips on that would be to, like, really just, I don't know. I mean, if you don't let it get to you, that's great. I mean, like, thinking that you're faking is honestly a really agonizing experience for anything, really. But I mean, like, for us personally, it was getting into the it was getting into I don't know, the same thing here, the big picture. I don't know how to explain it, but collectively thinking about the big picture is a really important thing, because like when we were first starting off with our transitioning, like medically, like the HRT and everything, it was like, I know I keep saying stuff like this, but it was chaos. And I'm just trying to give advice from our personal experience, because there was a lot of what ifs. I feel like the what ifs too, those are really those are a valid concern. But you know, if you're like, if you're having imposter syndrome, or you're worried about your identity, no matter if if it's one individual alter or the whole system, the most important thing to do is honestly to just take into account like your personal identity and your personal experience is individual to you, and you don't have to conform to anything that other people think is right for your identity. Because honestly, this took a lot of time for us to internalize, but it's really important to just keep the idea that your own perception of yourself is valid in your head, because you know, like, an alter might be feminine while the body is masculine, or like the collective is masculine, or the vice versa. But the most important thing is that you're comfortable with yourself in the moment. And I feel like thinking about the moment is honestly a beautiful thing either way, but it makes it better for a lot of systems, at least I would think, because it makes it better for us to just really reflect in a different way, not in a negative light. You know, have a growth mindset. Like, you know, it's just you really gotta go, into like the details that aren't as, how do I explain it? That aren't as stressful to analyze. Like, you know, when you're over analyzing your identity, it kind of gets to the point where you're uncomfortable and you feel like you're not yourself. And honestly, disassociation is common for a lot of plural individuals, and I feel like it can integrate into anything, like the disassociation, and that does include being trans and taking HRT. And I feel like it's really important to ground yourself. It's really important to, you know, be within the moment. It's really important to just, I don't know. It's important to be give yourself grace. Be patient with yourself, because that's another thing. Give yourself grace to be patient with yourself. I feel like it's really important to just. It's really important to be patient with yourself, for the fact that there's so many there's so many thoughts running through your head. There's so many effects that could be going on with your body when you take HRT. You know, you just have to give yourself grace, because of the fact that there's a lot going on, and you might be out of your mind in a theoretical sense. Not like you're crazy, but you know, it's like you have a lot going on. And I think a lot of people don't take that into account, even if they're not plural, that like when you're starting HRT, or even if you're 1 year down the line, it's the same thing. You're going through a lot, you're going through changes. And it's important to just really not beat yourself up for that. Because a lot of people, everybody experiences it differently, and a lot of people get on themselves for like, I don't know, being angry, or like, or having irrational emotions, or being all over the place, being emotional, you know, anything like that, really. It's just, and I just think it's honestly important to just, you know, give yourself grace, as I said. It's also really important to remember that letting alters that are a different gender expression than the way you're transitioning to, letting them express themselves is not a crime. You know? Like, if 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 they want to do something like wear makeup for an occasion, if you're trans masculine, or dress masculine for, you know, seeing somebody, if you're trans feminine, it's not going to affect anything in the long term, really. I mean, it shouldn't, because I'm talking about internally, not like outside, but like, you know, it's important that all alters feel comfortable. And I feel like, even if I said earlier, like, about the big picture thing, it's also important that when alters are fronting, they're feeling comfortable with how they're presenting themselves. And if you are worried about how people perceive your gender or how you're passing, you can set boundaries within the system. Like, hey, I don't think we should be doing XYZ in public, or looking like this gender or this presentation in public. I mean, it might feel frustrating to think about that for some alters, but if you're really worried about how you pass or present, there are little niche little things that you can do, the obscure options that aren't like full on drag queen makeup. You know what I mean? You can do like just subtle things. I don't know. Like you can like wear a bracelet or something. Like it doesn't have to be anything big or major. If you just want to have an alter be able to affirm their personal identity that's different than the whole system, there are small things you can do to affirm their identity. And I would say it's honestly understandable to have issues with, or like trouble with, keeping track of stuff when it comes to transitioning. And if you're one of those kinds of people like me, where you kind of forget how to keep track of like, oh, did we do our weekly injection, or do we have XYZ symptom, I feel like there are resources out there that can, like apps or tracking apps or things like that, that can really help you to, keep track of what's going on. And even just a pencil and a notebook, like a journal, you can start doing that kind of stuff. I know some people think journaling is overrated, or people talk about it too much, but when it comes to stuff like this, like logging changes or just HRT in general, it's especially important for people who are plural, or just anybody who dissociates, or anybody who has trouble remembering things, to just write things down and like try to stay on track. And sometimes we do subcutaneous shots, and sometimes like it's like when you're in your stomach area and like the tummy fat, you just, how do I explain this? Because like you it's like 1 week we will do it on the left side, the other week we could do it on the right side, that we'll do it somewhere in the middle, near the bottom. And I feel like it's like we don't really keep track of that, because the Band-Aid honestly only stays on for like less than 24 hours. And that's how we would be keeping track of what side we did it on. And if we do it on the same side the next week, we're sore because we don't remember. And I think in my personal experience, what would be helpful for that is journaling. And we don't personally do it as much as we would like, but it really does help. And it shows you like, okay, it shows individual alters what you did, I don't know, or what you were experiencing a few weeks back or a few days back, whatever it is. I feel like logging that kind of stuff is kind of an underrated factor of managing your daily life if you're a system, or just anybody really. That's pretty much all I have to say for this video. This was not scripted at all, so I was just saying whatever came to mind, but I really hope this is able to help some people, because it's honestly just, I don't know why, but it's upsetting to me that this is a topic that isn't talked about enough, because, neurodivergence and mental health in general, intertwining with being trans, is a lot to deal with. And there are plenty of resources for people who are either one, but not people who are both, like neurodivergent or plural, and navigating transitioning. And I feel like it would be great for people to start realizing that they can go hand in hand. So if this video helped you, please like and comment something in this video that actually helped you. That would mean a lot to me. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you guys in the next one, if you subscribed.